I did you? My name is Fred Oakman, and as always with me today is Mr. Jake Peters. We are PS This Is Awesome, a PlayStation podcast. This is episode 295. 5 away from 300, and this is a show where we share our feelings about the current state of PlayStation. But before we go on with the show, I want to invite you all to subscribe to our channel on YouTube, youtube.com/PS This Is Awesome. If you want to make fun of our trophy list on the PlayStation Network, you can find me at anchorless_81 and Mr. Jake Peters at jakesaw01. As always, you can write the show at psthisisawesome@gmail.com. And most importantly, don't forget to share the show with your friends. Be sure you leave comments and rate the podcast as you see fit. As a reminder, this is a video podcast as well, which you can watch the show if you prefer over at our YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe to that, share it with all your friends. And for new and or long-time listeners, we have a Patreon. You can support the show at a $1 level. The Patreon tier is called the one and only $1 Club. Head over to www.patreon.com/PSThisIsAwesome to become a $1 patron and get a free die-cut vinyl sticker in the mail, and we'll give you a shout out on the show. This episode, sometimes you will get an episode early. We are a Wednesday podcast now. Sometimes you will get it, say, if you're a patron subscriber, like on Monday. That didn't happen this time, and I apologize for that. You're all pretty much getting the show right when it's supposed to release, but we do appreciate our subscribers, and we hope that you enjoy this show. With that out of the way, Jake, how are you doing today?
Better than yesterday. So I'm still pretty wobbly, but just to kind of catch people up, this podcast might not even happen this week, or at least with me anyway, because I was working out yesterday morning and got up. I get up early and I work out before I go to work. So usually I'm up between 5 and 6 generally. Mm-hmm. And I got up, everything was great, fed the dogs, did all that nonsense. And then I went to do my morning workout. About halfway through, I did some sit-ups and some like sit-up crunches things. And then I went to stand up and fell flat on my face. And
Jesus, did you catch yourself?
I was like, that's fucking weird. No, I just literally went to sit up and just fell down. And I wasn't fully standing, so it's not like I just, it was like I passed out or something. It was like I went to get up on my knees to stand up and just literally fell straight down. And I'm like, that's fucking weird. So then I stood up and I picked up my weights and I did something else, and then I set them down. I was like, man, I don't feel right. And then I went to sit down and the whole room started spinning. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? So it's like, I'm just going to sit here for a minute. I must have maybe got up too fast or something. And I sat there for a couple minutes, wouldn't stop. So finally I was just like, okay, I got up and I basically had to hang onto the wall and stumble to get upstairs. And I got upstairs. Sarah was getting ready, and my wife was getting ready in the bathroom. So I kind of barged in on her, and she's like, "What's up?" I was like, "I don't know. I'm completely dizzy. It won't go away. I can't hardly stand." And she's like, "You're completely pale. You have no color to your lips." So we went into the bedroom. I laid on the bed, elevated my feet, and just kind of stared at the ceiling. And it all, after a minute or so, it kind of stopped. But then as soon as I would turn my head or try to sit up, I would just, immediately, the world would start spinning, and I would, almost throw up because it was just, I would get nauseous.
That's so weird.
And not like nausea was, not like I'm sick, so I'm nauseous, motion sickness nausea, because the world would be spinning and I'm like, holy fuck, I'm gonna throw up because everything is just spinning around. And because I felt when I was sat still and I'd stare at the ceiling, I felt totally normal, there was nothing wrong with me. And then as soon as I would start to move, everything would flip around and I would have trouble walking and everything. So after about an hour and a half, it didn't go away. So Sarah was like, we should probably go get you checked out. And I was like, yeah, you're probably right. I just, at the very least, want to make sure that I'm not like, I don't have like low blood pressure or something fucking, like I'm not like in shock or something weird's going on that I don't understand.
Yeah.
So, but I was like, it was already at that point, it had been almost 2 hours. My doctor's office opened at 8:30. So I was like, okay, well, I called my doctor's office when they opened up and they were like, well, we'd have you come in, but your doctor has COVID, so they won't be in until like the end of the week. And I was like, oh, fuck. They're like, but it sounds like you have like a benign vertigo. You could wait for it to go away on its own, or if you want, you could just go to like a urgent care, or if you're really worried, you could go to the ER. And I was like, okay, well, none of that information is helpful to me. Right. I basically had all that in my own mind already. So we were just like, fuck it, let's go to urgent care. And because I was like, I don't want to waste. I'm one of those people where it's like, unless I'm seriously concerned that like I'm going to die or something, or like I know that I'm seriously injured, I don't like, and maybe this is silly, but I don't like wasting an emergency room bed for if I don't feel like I need it. Because someone could come in and like, yeah, they admit people based on severity. But let's say they're like, oh, it's slow, so let's admit Jake because he's like not dying, but he has this whatever and he wants to get it checked out. And then like 5 minutes later, someone comes in with a gunshot wound and there's not a bed left or something.
And you're sitting there
and
with
they
like
gotta
a
like
sore
triage
throat
him
or
on the floor or some shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I'm completely off base on this, but plus I don't love going to the emergency room anyway. It's always a nightmare. So, but I was like, I know this is very cynical of me, but urgent cares are always fucking packed Monday morning.
With sick people that you can catch shit from.
And in my opinion, I know this is cynical, but it's probably people going to urgent care trying to get out of work. And because they're open all weekend, why didn't you fucking go on Sunday? Yeah. Or Saturday? So, but no, they're never busy on Saturday and Sunday, but they're always busy Monday morning. So, so I go in there. There might be more than two, but there's at least two in Meadville. And I went to the first one, and we like pull in the parking lot was packed, and they don't have a very big seating area. And there was like one seat that was open in the middle of like all these people. And I was like, Sarah, I have to have a place to sit down because I'm going to fucking die if I try to stand, or I'm going to fall down. And I'm not sitting in the middle of a pack of sick people. Right. Especially with like all this resurgence of this new strain of COVID and all this stuff that I don't want to deal with. So let's go to the other one. So we go to the other one. There weren't that many people in there. So I'm like, oh, great. Maybe this will be okay. I can get in. And to make a long story short, the reason why there was nobody in there is because they were scheduling appointments and people were just leaving. So they're like, we can't get you in for another couple of hours. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Put me down. We'll just go get some breakfast or something. And I'll just like lay down in the car until the appointment, because we weren't going to drive all the way home and back in and all this stuff. So long story short, they're like, oh, you probably have what's called, let me see if I can, it's called benign paroxysmal positional vertigo, which is something apparently that anybody can get. And what happens is that you have all these, like, if you've ever seen an anatomical drawing of like the inner ear, there's all these like loops and tubes and stuff that your ear's made out of. And on your inner ear, there's these three loops that look like almost half circles, and they're all full of these little crystals. And those little crystals inside of those little tubes are what give you your balance. They act like your gimbal. Yeah. You know what I mean? And what can happen is as they like wear out and get tired as you age and stuff, sometimes if you get like, you jostle your head funny or you move really quickly in a certain direction, those little crystals can move out of position into one of the other tubes, and it completely fucks up your sense of stabilization. So like at that point, and that's why it only affects you when you're moving. If you're sitting totally still, you don't notice it at all. You feel totally fine. But as soon as you start to move, it's like you literally stepped onto a freaking ship in the middle of a storm. Like everything is just moving all around and shit when you're trying to walk and stuff.
God.
And so I was like, okay, so I'll try to cut the story down. But basically, you can't like get medicated for it. Like they can give you a treatment for like to try to cut down on the dizziness and the nausea. It's basically like the shit they give you when you go on planes for motion sickness.
Yep. Like Dramamine or whatever.
The only way to fix it is to get those crystals realigned in your ears. And that can sometimes go away on its own. That usually will go away on its own, but it can take days or even weeks depending on how bad it is. But there are these exercises you can do where you like kind of move all around and rock your head and hold these weird positions, and it like forces vertigo, so it's really uncomfortable. But what it's doing is it's moving all of those crystals around in your head to try to get them back where they belong. Man. And so so they gave me these exercises. Well, they gave me the medication too in case I'm like I really need it. The problem is the medication makes you really drowsy, so I don't want to like take it during the day and stuff. Yeah. But so I got home, I started doing some of these exercises, and I basically took a nap when I got home because I was so wore out from just the whole experience. And then I basically from 6:30 in the morning until approximately 7 o'clock at night, not including the time that I went to the doctor, I was basically just laying on my back staring at the ceiling. Because as soon as I tried to get up and move around, like everything started spinning. I started getting nauseous. I didn't eat fucking anything all day. And then so this morning I woke up. I still have it. Like I still am a little bit dizzy, but it's way better than it was yesterday. Like I was able to go to work. Like, dude, I'm not even kidding you. If I would have gotten in the car and tried to drive to work yesterday, I would have fucking died and probably taken somebody else with me. That's how bad it was. Like the way that I was trying to describe it to someone is it's like, imagine trying to walk when you're incredibly drunk, but all of your cognitive function is totally fine. So like you're not like all fuzzy minded and you're not like all loopy and stuff. You're just like your rational reasoning brain is totally functional, but your body is just like you're on a boat. You're stumbling all over the place. Everything is moving around underneath of you. You don't know what the fuck's going on. It is one of the most uncomfortable things that has ever happened to me that's not painful, if that makes any sense. Because it's like it's the first time I've ever had an experience where it's like my body's failing me in some way. If that, you know what I mean? Like where my brain works,
like you're helpless.
My body's
you're an absolute at the whim of just whatever your automated processes are. It's out of your control.
Right. So like, it's like a tiny itsy bitsy tiny glimpse into something like one of those lock-in syndromes or something where it's like, people lose their ability to their motor functions and stuff, even though they're cognitively capable. And it's fucking scary. I'm not saying it's anywhere close to dealing with that because this is something that will go away, but it's very unnerving. And the thing that sucks about it is that it's because it happens usually due to a deterioration, not in you've got some disease or something, but as you get older, your body like ages and stuff. And so like when those tubes in your ears age, this is more likely to happen. Right. And once it happens the first time, it wears the tubes out even more, and it's possible that it can happen again.
It's like a dislocated shoulder.
Yeah. I don't know that it's quite that bad because like when you dislocate your shoulder, it's like fucked until you have it surgically repaired.
That's true.
This isn't quite that bad, but it's on the same kind of, I think it's on the same kind of spectrum, if that makes any sense. But a guy that I work with has dealt with this. So I was texting him all day yesterday being like, hey, like, what do I do? Like, what have you done? And he was just like, here, do these exercises. They work really well for me. And then I was talking to him this morning when I got to the office, and he was like, dude, exactly what you're saying is exactly what I experienced. It's so weird. But yeah, it really sucked because we had this really big show at our shop yesterday that we had planned for like months, where we had all these customers coming in, and I was supposed to be there to help do all these demos and stuff. And like, I had to call my boss at like 8 o'clock and be like, bro, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to fucking be there because I can't walk. And if I even tried to like stand up and talk to these people, I would probably just start barfing or fall over.
And he says, you're fired.
You're fired. No,
that is the worst impression I ever did.
He was fine. He was fine with it. Apparently the show went really well without me, so I was just kind of bummed that I missed it because it was like catered and everything. So like there's all this good food and stuff. But yeah, that's my long story shortish for what happened to me yesterday, which is, dude, and when you texted me, because I was him-hawing about texting you because I was thinking about like maybe I can get over it enough that like I can get through the podcast or whatever. Yeah. And then you finally texted me, you're like, hey, let's do this. And I was still just like, I felt so bad having to cancel yesterday, but it was just one of these things where,
oh, it's fine. I got a hold of LJ, and he just came back from Furnace Fest, which is a big thing down, I think, in Alabama or some of this, I don't know where it is, some other states. A huge festival.
Please tell me this is a festival where they talk about furnaces.
No, I don't know why it's called Furnace Fest, but it's a lot of good bands. And then your brother was like working on his deck or something, so I was just like, well, if Jay can't do it today, I'm gonna come home right after work and pound out a single one by myself. And then you wrote and you said, I think maybe I can do it. And I was like, well, I'll hold off and then we'll do it. So we're recording podcast because of that late, but it's not late. We're just not recording it when we plan to record it, but you guys are getting it on time. So dude, our weekend was weird. Friday I went and played, I took the day off and I went golfing with Keith out at Spring Valley in Mercer. Have you ever played there?
No.
It's a really nice golf course. It was $20 for nine holes in a cart, and it was beautiful. It's kind of narrow.
It's nice. It's this time of year is really nice to go golfing because I think it's technically post-season. So usually you can get pretty good rates, especially if you go during a weekday.
Yeah, I couldn't believe how cheap it was. It was a beautiful day for golf. I played pretty decent. I sunk like a 23-foot putt, which was awesome. And then
what did you say the course was called?
Spring Valley or Spring Hill. It's in Mercer. It's beautiful. It's a full 18.
Spring Valley golf course.
Yeah, it's an 18-hole golf course. We should go there sometime. It's absolutely awesome. Nice. I loved it. And so Saturday, One Up by Land had a concert in Meadville. And Jake, you guys showed up late to that. You missed our set, but it was a good time. There were a lot of people.
Yeah, it was cool. It's always nice to go to a show that's like just a show. That's what it is. It's not like a fucking bar. It's not like you're playing somebody's wedding or something. It's like a show to be a show, and a lot of people like that show up. Now, the one thing I did notice is that it was all basically old heads from Meadville for the most part.
Yeah, older people.
But that's cool. I mean, it's cool to like kind of bring people together like that. It was in this little art gallery we have in Meadville, and yeah, Sarah was so upset that we missed you guys, but because it was, in all honesty, her fault we were late. But the other two bands were really good.
Yeah.
So
it was a good time.
It was a good time.
Yeah. We opened it up, but the promoter got a hold of us and he was like, yo, the band from out of town, it's not right to stick them last or first because, if you're first and from out of town, you're going to be probably playing to like not as big of a crowd. And if you're playing last, then the two locals are already done. So people are going to get out of there. So we put them in the middle. And then because Eric booked the show, I was like, yeah, dude, we'll just play first. You did all the work. We'll just go on and open things up. So that was nice. And then it was a good time too. $7 at the door and the place was packed. And Jake, we're playing an actual show on Friday with The Flood. Josh Travis's CD release show.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun.
I'm curious. This is how sad the state of local music is here but I'm curious how well it will do given that there's a cover.
Well, the show we had was decent, you know, but you're right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. The show we just played had a cover, but then again, it's Meadville as opposed to Erie, where you can go anywhere in Erie and check out a free live show. But we'll see. He's been pushing the crap out of that show, so I think it should be fun. The other thing is
Shayner's doing the music for that, or the sound for that?
He's running the sound.
It'll be good.
Yeah,
it'll be good. I'm excited.
Yeah, and then
if hopefully, like worst case scenario, I might have to sit in a chair.
It's a 45-minute set. We're not even playing that long, so
yeah,
it'll be nice. Yeah. But Sunday, you're looking at voila right here, the 2023 Whispering Pines Cops and Robber League Tournament longest putt hole number 9 winner. Right here.
Look at you. How long was it? Did they measure it?
It was long as shit, and we didn't measure it. What you do is you step it off on the course, and when you play the hole, you'll see where the marker is, and then if you make a putt further than that, you take the marker, you write your name under that person, you put it where you putted from. So
yeah.
But dude, it was one of those putts where like I was literally looking at the green. And I was like, there's no chance in hell I'm making this, because those greens are really tough. So I had to putt like, I don't even know, like a completely different direction in the hole to land this. Like it was like a miracle it worked. And I looked at the team we were playing, and I looked at my dad, and I said, there's no chance in hell this is going in. But if it does, you guys better watch. And I gave it the old Oakman touch, and it went up for like, I don't know, 10 feet, 12 feet. And then it started coming down and around, and it slowly lined right up. And then it did a little bit of a right move, and it dropped right the fuck in. And I was like, "Whoa!" It wasn't a lot of money. It was just bragging rights, really. It was $10, awesome. But yeah, still cool.
That's cool. That me and my brother and my dad played in a golf outing a few weeks ago with a childhood friend of my brother's, and my brother's friend got longest putt in that outing. That's awesome. It was a similar thing. It was just, we were just like, fuck it, just hit it. And like, and he sunk it. We're like, what the hell? Like, and he ended up, I don't know, he won like $20 or something. Yeah. But like, it was, it's awesome when you get that, because I like, don't you think it almost always has to be just shit luck?
Those
like,
kind of things for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, there's no way that, I mean, sometimes for sure the best golfer gets like the longest putt, but usually it's like some jackass that like just beans it from fucking 45 feet away, and it just happens to go in.
Hits the pin and drops or something.
Because it would be so hard to have a skilled putt go in from that far away.
I mean, you can always get them close, but like to get it to drop, I mean, like it takes some skill to kind of read the green. I mean, if I would have putted right at the hole, it would have been nowhere near. It would have dropped off the far edge of the fairway or the green. But like, you got to kind of size it up and get an idea. But like, those greens are managed well enough, but they all play a little bit different even, and it was misting, and like there was a little bit of rain, and like, I was like, who knows how the ball's going to travel here? Yeah, I got lucky, but I like to say it was all me. But
very well could be.
It is what it is. But that was fun. So that brings us here. One of my land's music videos is going to be dropping soon. We're trying to get everything lined up for the release on digital, and as soon as that's scheduled, we're going to put up a link for the pre-order. So if you guys, listeners, are all interested in my rock and roll band, we're going to have a pre-order up for a vinyl record and for CDs. And then I don't think there's a way to do a pre-order on digital, but at the very least, you can watch the cool music video, and I'll be posting about that. So that aside, Jake, let's talk about PlayStation. We're well into the podcast at this point. So every episode, we talk about games that we're playing, and I have jumped right back into Cyberpunk 2077 because it got the 2.0 update, and I've been playing it on that. And CD Projekt Red said that recently that they really encourage everybody to just start a new game, new save. Just start a new game, play it this is the way with the skill trees and stuff. But I had started kind of a new game when they announced Phantom Liberty, so I'm playing a female hacker who's like really fast and good with blades. Not necessarily trying to stealth at all, but just like a samurai who's just like fuck you and a badass. So it's fun. I tried some of the vehicular combat. I haven't gotten in any vehicle combat, but I did figure out how the aiming systems work and whatnot. And man, this game is so good. It's just, this is the same thing that kind of happened with The Witcher, but not as worse, way worse than The Witcher. But like when The Witcher 3 came out, that game was not perfect. And about a year, 2.5 years later, it had all this DLC. It was supported. All the bugs pretty much been worked out. And everyone's like, this is the greatest fucking game ever. You know what I mean? And like Cyberpunk 2077 is absolutely awesome now. I love it. I think it's a great game. So I've been playing that. I haven't played anything else really. I didn't pull the trigger on Bubble Bobble 4, but I don't know. And I'm excited. We're going to talk about the October PS Plus games that leaked. And that'll be something I definitely take advantage of this time around. But Jake, what are you playing? You playing anything?
I've been nothing new. I've been playing Starfield still, and I'm about 25 hours into that. And then yesterday I played a little bit of while I was trying to keep my mind off of the vertigo thing. I was playing a little because I could, if I sit still, I could. It's weird. If I sit still, I could play video games. Like watching things that move don't bother me, but moving myself bothers me. So I was playing a little bit of Sea of Stars again to make a little bit more headway on that. But nothing really new to say. I mean, still enjoy both games. That's about it, though.
That's all she wrote, huh? I did post, if anyone's even interested, a side mission of Cyberpunk 2077. It's just it's a side mission that's really kind of funny. It's called Small Man, Big Mouth. And you either agree or don't agree to go do this thing. It's on our YouTube page. It only has like 3 views. But I thought it was absolutely awesome. And it's a good representation of how this game can play and how cool it is. So if you're at all interested in that, and just checking a side mission that's like not really super pertinent to the game, and you're just curious, that would be kind of a way to check it out. So I don't know, man. Let's get on to the next news, or let's get into the news. How about we haven't talked about any news yet, and we have no listener feedback this time around, Jake, which is fine. And if there is and I missed it, I apologize. It's been kind of a very busy week and a half. So the first news point is that the Tokyo Game Show is happening, or maybe has already happened. I think I'm not sure when it runs, but Square Enix had a showing of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth gameplay and how traversal in the open areas will be handled. Gameplay footage included Chocobo Riding, which the player controls, among other things. I didn't watch this, but I thought it was relevant because everyone's super jazzed about this game. I just didn't want anything spoiled, and I guess that it looks really good. Jake, did you happen upon this? Did you see this?
I mean, I heard about it, but I like you, I didn't watch it because, quite frankly, I'm going to play it whether I see this trailer or not, and I would much rather it not ruin anything for me than take the chance that I might learn something. But I mean, I fully believe that it's gonna be good. So
that's it. That's all you got?
Yep.
Next news point. Easy enough. Simple. Okay. The October PS Plus games have leaked. And I'm actually kind of excited about this. We talked about last episode, or was that this episode we're going to talk about this? Let me look here. Yeah, we'll include this. We'll include these 2 news points. The Callisto Protocol PS5, PS4 has been leaked to be a PlayStation Plus game for October, as well as Farming Simulator 2022. Now, I don't see a third game. So either there isn't one or it just didn't leak. So on the topic of Callisto Protocol, as we scooch on down the notes, Jake, second to last, after the not so well received Callisto Protocol, creator Glen Schofield has left Striking Distance Studio to pursue new opportunities. And along with Mr. Schofield's departure of the studio, we'll also see the departure of Chief Operating Officer Stacy Harada and Chief Financial Officer Johnny HSU. Shu? I don't know how to pronounce that. And then Schofield was the CEO of the company. And taking over will be Steve Popatis. And Schofield indicates in quotes, creating Striking Distance Studios has been an incredible journey, and I'm so proud of what we've achieved with Callisto Protocol, a game close to my heart. While pursuing a new adventure is exciting, leaving Striking Distance Studios is bittersweet. But I know the studio is in excellent hands. So what do you make of that? Schofield leaving Striking Distance Studios. What's he going to do next? What's going on?
I don't know. If I had to guess, I'd say he probably got a lot of flack for how expensive that game was, considering what they ended up with. I'm one of those people, and I talked about it on the show, because I beat that game. I think it's a pretty good game, if I'm being honest. I'm not going to sit here and say it's great or it's like the most amazing thing ever, or if it's just as good as Dead Space. But I think that because we're getting it for quote unquote free with PS Plus, you should definitely play it if you're interested in that type of game. It's not super long. It'll take you maybe 8 to 10 hours to beat it, and I think that it's a really, really neat, well-polished survival horror experience. The most annoying thing about it is the dodge system in it. And as long as you can kind of wrap your head around that, which might take a couple hours, it's perfectly serviceable. So I'm guessing that everything with him leaving probably has to do with, I mean, he might have just been like, okay, well, I want to move on to something else because I don't want to deal with this anymore. I don't want to sit here and get my tinfoil hat out and assume that, like, oh, he's leaving because they're forcing him out because the game was too expensive. Right. But that game notoriously cost like $200 million or something crazy like that. For what it is, that's way too much money. So considering a game like Horizon Forbidden West cost about the same amount of money and is way more bang for your buck than what they got out of it at Striking Distance, I have to imagine that maybe, if not that specific point, but the environment in the studio that was created because of its criticisms is probably what caused him to either want to leave or to be asked to leave.
Yeah, interesting. Do you think he's going to stay with video game making, or do you think he's just like done?
I don't know. I mean,
could we see him return and make a Dead Space
These guys
game?
Usually, what's that?
You think he's going to return and do Dead Space?
Maybe. I mean, if EA wants to do another, like, remake Dead Space 2, or if they want to make a new Dead Space or something like that, maybe he could find his way back over there. But these creative types, especially the ones that are of the caliber to make games as good as Dead Space, they don't typically stay away from the industry. They might go away for a little bit, and then they have to come back and make their mark somehow. So I'd be shocked if he never made another game. But I don't know where he'll end up.
Yeah, fair enough. I agree. That's an interesting point. And I hope it wasn't any negative juju or negative anything going on. I just hope it was just like, he's like, you know what? I did what I set out to do. I wanted to make a Dead Space predecessor or something like that. It's another space game, start a studio, prove to myself I can do it. And then he did it. And now maybe he's just like, I'm done. Or I'm going to go try something else. Or maybe he got an offer he couldn't refuse by somebody else. You know what I mean? Who knows? But interesting. Well, hey, the next news point, which is a game that I thought looks actually really, really cool, is BANISHER'S Ghost of New Eden. There's a new kind of trailer out about this game that kind of shows some of the gameplay, more the mechanics and stuff. If you want to look into that, I believe it's on the Sony blog. But this game has been inevitably delayed for lack of any reason outside of just trying to dodge the whirlwind of October, November, December of 2023. It's a smart move. The studio, Don't Nod, I believe, are trying to give the game the best wheels, possible. So it was going to release in November, and now it's going to be releasing February 13th of 2024. So, dude, the next 6 months are just going to be chock full of games. Games that got pushed out because they were too scared to go in October that were going to be good, and then the great games in October, November.
One of two things is going to happen. Either I'm going to be playing games from the next 4 months until the end of next year, or some of these games are going to get lost. And I really hate to think that might happen. But dude, there's so much coming out. We've got just coming up in the next few weeks, we've got Spider-Man and Alan Wake 2. And that doesn't include, all these other games that I'm not even thinking about. And then now we've got February, we've got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and now we've got BANISHER'S, Ghost of New Eden. And dude, these next 4 to 6 months are going to be just a gnarly time in video game releases. And I don't think that November 13th would have been a bad window for them to delete it in, or they could have moved it to like early December, and I think it would have been okay. But something else is coming out in December. Oh, Avatar is coming out in early December. Right. So like, there's like just shit everywhere. And is February 13th the right Valentine's Day? No, that's the 14th, right?
Yeah, 14th.
Is that the right time? I don't know. But they could find themselves in a similar position even at that point. Because, there are still big games that haven't announced their release dates yet. And it could be entirely possible that more games will push back. Something might drop in the same week as this.
It's just ridiculous.
It's like, okay, well, what do you do? I don't know. But, I mean, it's a good problem to have. I'm okay with that. But I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed with like the games that are coming out, specifically because we've got I'm playing Starfield right now. I'm 25 hours into it, and I feel like I've barely started it. And Baldur's Gate 3 is sitting there, and I'd love to try that game. It looks like it would be very fun, but it's also a huge ass game. And then we've got Spider-Man 2, which I think they came out and said, I don't know if you had this in your notes, but I think they came out and said that it was going to be like somewhere between like 20 to 30 hours long, which is good. That's a reasonable length for an open world game like that. But then you got Alan Wake 2, which they already said that they're going to bloat the shit out of that story. So it's going to be 40 hours long or whatever the fuck. And then Avatar is an open world game. That's probably going to be bloated as fuck. So it's like, how am I supposed to play all this shit? I just want one of these freaking companies to release a game that's 10 hours long. That's all I want. And then I'll feel happy. I'll gladly give you $70 for a 10-hour game. I don't know. We don't have to have this conversation again. But I'm feeling overwhelmed thinking about all the games that are coming out.
Yeah, no, I get it. There was an article on Push Square about how the beginning of 2024 is going to be nothing to scoff at. And they had a list. I didn't write it down. I was going to talk about it, but there's enough news points here. So move forward. This is brand new news, and we are maybe benefiting from doing a Wednesday show and being a little late. So this news comes way of like Push Square. I don't think it's really their news story, but I found this on their website. And so apparently Sony is investigating, as they put it, an alleged hack of quote unquote all systems by ransomware group. And Sony put out a short statement. This is per Push Square's article, verbatim, regarding the recent report about an alleged ransomware attack on the company. Sony told IGN that we're currently investigating the situation. We have no further comment at this time. So the ransomware group is called ransomed.vc. They are stating that they've compromised all Sony systems. And they said that they're going to be selling the data because Sony doesn't want to pay. So they publicly put it out there that this data is for sale, and they have apparently backed up what they're saying they've been able to do with some sort of proof, which is like screenshots of login pages and all kinds of stuff that they've been able to get into. So this is kind of scary, actually. These hacker groups, man, I can't even imagine the amount of money that they make. I can't even begin to fathom the amount of money these hacker groups make. I have my payment through Sony, not through my credit card or debit card or anything. It's through my PayPal. And in order to make any payments, I have to log into PayPal every single time and do it that way. So hopefully my cards and stuff's protected, but this is something to always be concerned about. I don't know what they have, if they have what they say they have. Sony went through a huge hack, Jake, when we were covering it years and years ago, and they shut the network down. And the network was down for a long time, and it made the news, and it was a big deal. So this group apparently didn't list the price for the information that they have, but they did provide some sort of contact information. It's weird. So I don't know what to make of this. I'm looking at this article, and I don't know a whole lot about it, but it's crazy. I don't know. You're gonna be hearing a lot about this week. I guarantee it. I guarantee this is like breaking news as of today.
Yeah. They made it seem like maybe the 28th was going to be the deadline, and that's in a couple days. So I guess we'll find out in a couple days what's going on. But yeah, I don't know if it turns out that, like, payment methods and stuff have been compromised, then I'll obviously have to request a new credit card or something like that. I mean, other than that, I don't have any real personal information on Sony's stuff.
Right.
But I do have a credit card linked to the account to pay for my PS Plus and all that kind of junk. So I'll be keeping an eye on it to see what happens. But hopefully this isn't a repeat of the whole 2011 hack thing.
That was terrible.
It took the network down for a month.
Yeah.
So I don't know that Sony would let that happen again, because it would fuck them up. But it's possible. It's always possible they could figure out how might take them that long. I have to imagine after that last hack, though, they've implemented some kind of strategy to make it so that they could seal breaches much faster. And I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe it's a little bit optimistic to think that, but I'm really hoping that there's nothing super crazy here, because they made it sound like the ransomware company was like, well, Sony's not going to pay us, so we're going to sell it on the open market, or the black market, I guess. And if nobody buys it, we'll just publish it. We'll just release it for free to everybody. And it's like, okay, well, the fact that Sony's not willing to pay for it tells me that not that they might just have a no pay policy regardless of how damaging the information is. But I wonder if any of this information is similar to everything that's been hacked or that's been leaked recently on the Microsoft side, where basically their whole plan from the last 3 years has been leaked to the public, including like everything about their acquisition strategies to like, you know, what games are on the horizon, to internal correspondence between like the Xbox guys and the Microsoft CEO and everything and all this shit. It's like the biggest leak in Microsoft history. And maybe this could be on that level where we don't know anything about anything that Sony's doing right now because they haven't announced anything, what any of the first parties are doing. And we could seriously find out in 2 days what everybody's working on.
Well, buckle up.
If this leak is, you know, is what it is.
Now they do say Sony, but not PlayStation specifically, you know, so it could just be something else, maybe not even 100% PlayStation related. It could just be Sony. But they say all systems, so I don't know what the fuck that means.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways,
I would have to imagine PlayStation is part of that, but
it would have to be. All right. Well, next news point, Baldur's Gate 3 now has received its third patch, which apparently really improves upon the already welcome PS5 version of the game. The update is 8 gigabytes and balances certain gameplay systems and improves upon the game's performance. Other additions with this patch include a mirror that permits you to change your appearance during the game, a 30 frames per second quality mode stabilization, and improvements to hit the targeted 60 frames per second performance mode stabilization. And though I've not played this game, Jake, you can now level up multiple characters at once rather than clicking on them individually, which just based on that statement alone, I'm sure is welcome improvement to the game. So there's nothing I detest more in a game where you have to manage multiple characters, and it's tedious to level everybody up. You go to the screen, you got to pick out the things, and let me just one click it all. So very cool. They're still obviously supporting this game. And they will be for quite a while. And this game is definitely on my list of things that I'm super interested in. I don't know that we're ever going to get a good sale on this game, though, with how well it's doing. But, Jake, anything?
I'm sure it'll go on sale at some point. This seems like it would be a great Black Friday pickup. Like, maybe it'll be like $40 or $50 on Black Friday.
You think?
And that would be probably like if you are ready to play it, that would be, I think, a good price for it. But if you're not ready to play it, I would just wait until you're ready to play it because the price will come down at some point. But yeah, I don't think it's going to go on sale that quickly just because of how popular it is. But the way that, like, how fickle everything is now, I wouldn't be surprised if it's marked down within the next 6 months. So it's hard to say, though.
Yeah, I suppose it's possible. Man, what else is going on here? Oh, this is interesting. You guys know I'm a big Helldivers fan, and Helldivers 2, you can pre-order it now. I don't know why you'd pre-order anything, but it's only going to be $40. So this game gets more and more appealing every time I hear something about it. What do you think about the price point for Helldivers 2?
That's pretty good. That's like in line with a AA kind of indie kind of game, which is sort of what the first Helldivers was. So I'm really curious because this game looks more expensive than a $40 game to me. And so I hope that it's great and they're not selling themselves short and that this is a boon for them.
Yeah.
It could just be that they're putting it at that price point to try and boost their numbers, to get more players in, to kind of build the ecosystem and everything, because it is like a predominantly online game. You can play it by yourself, but you'd be playing with bots and things like that. So I don't know. I think that's awesome. I wish more games would explore these like variable price points for games. Like, I think that, you know, it would be, I would much rather, like, if Sony was like, okay, the Wolverine game it's only going to be 10 hours long, but we're going to charge you $50 for it instead of $70.
Keep dreaming.
Or like, oh, The Witcher 4 is $100, but it's worth $100. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why. Like, this is one of the only industries outside of like CDs, like music and stuff like that, where everything has to be the same fucking price. I really don't understand it. And I think that $40 is a great price point for a new game, especially something like this. This might be a little niche. But yeah, I'm all about it.
Very good. Very good. As a quick aside, I just got a text from Troy, and our first single for our record, American Crows, is going to be pre-released on 11/3, so you'll be able to listen to it. Sorry, not 11/3, 10/6 next Friday. So you'll be able to listen to the first track off of our new record, 10/6. You heard it here first. But I agree about Helldivers, man. That game's going to be good, and I wonder, too, if maybe they know that down the road it's going to be a PS Plus game, so they don't want to charge too much for it for that reason, too. You know what I mean?
It could be. I mean, they could even announce that it's coming to PS Plus Extra or Premium, like, right off the bat.
Ooh.
That would be a pretty baller move, but I don't think they would do that. I think they're going to try and sell it first.
Yeah. Yep, that's the way to do it. That is the way to do it. So, here's the thing about this next news point, and I guess I don't understand. Metal Gear Solid 1 so one of the three games, sorry, Jesus, I can't read my notes. The Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1, right, is going to include Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, and then Metal Gear Solid 1. So Metal Gear Solid 1 will not be running at 60 frames per second on this Master Collection. However, Metal Gear Solid 2 and Sons of which is Sons of Liberty, and Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater will run at 60 frames per second. They announced that this collection is going to launch on PS4 and PS5 on October 24th. There's another October fucking thing coming your way. But why can't they get Metal Gear Solid 1 to run at 60?
I have no idea. This makes no sense to me. I mean, there clearly has to be a reason for it. There must be something about like the way that the PlayStation 1 architecture works. Although I don't know. I mean, I think it just seems like maybe it was probably more difficult for them to put the effort in to make it run at 60 than the other games. And they're just like, fuck it, it's going to sell regardless. Who cares? Let's not put the work in. And that seems, I know that's pretty cynical, but that seems ridiculous that they would even release this with Metal Gear Solid 1 running it at 30 frames. Because to be completely honest with you, it's the one that most people probably are going to buy this collection to play. We can already we already had re-releases of Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3.
Right.
And I mean, granted, that was a few years ago now, but even still, I don't know, man. This is really disappointing, though. Not that I was necessarily going to play it to begin with, but it just seems kind of silly to me, if I'm being honest.
It's weird. Like, I don't think I'll ever understand why you can't get a game from the PS1 era to run at 60 unless it just looks like garbage and it's too fast or something, which is very possible.
Yeah, there very well could be. I know, like, those older games, depending on like the way that the frames were made and stuff, sometimes it's hard for them to increase the frame rate without like fucking the game up horribly with like the jitters and all that kind of shit. So, because you have to like make phantom frames and stuff for it to work.
Yeah.
Because the original game didn't render that fast. So I don't know. There could be like a serious problem underneath, but it seems weird that it would be an issue for this game. I don't know. I think it would have, regardless though, I think it would have been worth it for them to put the effort in to figure it out, or at least explain why it's not that way. And hopefully somebody is going to grill Konami about it.
Yeah.
Or whoever's doing the port. But yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. It's just kind of weird. I wouldn't say I'm a huge Metal Gear fan, but I do love the franchise. And I'm just like, my recent experiences with Metal Gear have not been great because we got burnt on the ending of Phantom Pain. And now there's this where like the one game, the frames per second usually isn't a big deal, but like, I don't know. I think the last game I played was on Vita, the last 2 Metal Gear games outside of Phantom Pain. I think I played whatever collection that was. It was Snake Eater and the other one. I don't know. Maybe it was Sons of Liberty. I don't know. I played those 2 on the
Sons of Liberty was 2.
Yeah. So I played those, and then I played the PS3 one that was really weird. It was like Old Snake. Which one was that one? Was that Sons of Liberty?
Oh, 4.
Was that 4? I played that one.
Yeah.
I played a lot of
Guns
them,
of the
but
Patriots.
like, it's not a game that I'm like, oh, this is fucking awesome. Although I did love Phantom Pain. I just feel like we got so ripped off on the ending of that game. It's such a masterful game too. The way that game played, everything about it was so good. But left high and dry.
MGS5 was dope.
It was so good.
It just there was no ending to it, so that kind of sucked.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving forward, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, and it is spooky season now, so we are officially there. I'm going to give it a quick shout out. I haven't played it, but its first month since it's been out, it's had a pretty impressive 4 million players. So there's a thirst for this game. And the studio announced this recently in a tweet, and they indicated that's a whole lot of barbecue. It's like, come on. That's fucking awesome. So that's cool. A game I probably won't play, but a game I'm anticipating probably doing even more numbers here in this Halloween. I wonder how many leather faces we see walking around of like kids. Seems like whenever a game picks up, the kids all dress up like the characters from the game.
They'll have freaking Leatherface in Fortnite or something.
Like children. Yeah. Children dressed like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Last Halloween, I was dressed up as Michael Myers. And this other kid was dressed up like Michael Myers. And like he goes, "Oh, you're Michael Myers from the third Halloween." And I didn't know if I was. I mean, I'm a fan, but like I just bought a fucking mask. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, "I'm Michael Myers from blah, blah, blah." And he had the burnt face one. And he's like a little kid, though. So the head was like huge on his little body. And I gave him like all kinds of
That's cool that he
knew.
Like, I mean, his parents probably shouldn't have been letting him watch those movies. Yeah. But like, it's cool that he's like that much of a fan that he really put that kind of thought into it.
Yeah. Like he wanted to be a specific Michael Myers. Yeah. And I will say the mask, the Michael Myers mask with like the half face torched does look really awesome. He just looks a little more badass for whatever reason. I just have the old school one, which is scary in its own right, but the torched one is more badass. And I think the all white with the fucking hair is just like shooting out and stuff and looking weird. It's just creepy. So if you want to look like a badass, get the torched one. If you want to look fucking like a weirdo, get the other one. So that being said, Jake, let's move on to this next news point. And this is interesting because a game series that I really am a fan of is Tomb Raider. The new Tomb Raider games are really good. So at least, you know, the newer ones. I never really played the earlier ones, like back on like GameCube and stuff. But the property of Tomb Raider is now in the hands of Crystal Dynamics, and they've recently announced that they've cut 10 employees, 9 being marketing brand-focused employees, and the other being an IT position. And this, I would have to think, must be directly related to the necessary restructuring going on with the Embracer Group. So don't forget the new Tomb Raider game is being bankrolled and funded by Amazon. So Amazon money is going to be paying for the new Tomb Raider game. And I don't know what's going to happen with that, but we'll probably honestly be lucky if we get it on PlayStation 5. I don't know. I hope we do. But with it being involved with Embracer Group and stuff, it's hard to say what's going to happen with this game. Jake, do you care about the 10 people being laid off from Crystal Dynamics? Do you say, fuck it, it's part of the industry, go find another job? Of course you feel bad. But like 10 doesn't seem like a lot to me.
Probably not for their team, but I mean, I always feel bad when somebody loses their job. Obviously, that's not good, but when you're passionate about like the product and the creative side of things, it's really hard to like muster up the like as much compassion for like the business side of it. Because a lot of time the business side of it is what we as gamers have the biggest problem with as far as the industry goes. Mm-hmm. Why are you charging us for this? You shouldn't be charging us for that. Why did you release it here when it was broken? Just because you wanted to appease shareholders? Like, and marketing kind of falls into that. It's just the act of selling the game. So I do feel bad for these people losing their jobs. That sucks.
I was being facetious,
but it's just it's much more. But it's much more. Like, I'm just getting at it. It's like from like a game enthusiast, it's much more difficult to be to find the same level of compassion as someone that's like, oh, they laid off
half their studio.
They laid off the team that made the combat in fucking Tomb Raider. Or they laid off the writers that made the stories or whatever. Like, excuse me. That type of thing it hits a little bit closer to home. But I'm sure these people will land on their feet. There's 1,000,001 things that need sold out there. There's 1,000,001 servers that need fixed.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that they probably, hopefully within Embracer, have a resource for these people to be able to find new positions.
I agree. Do you think the new Tomb Raider game's coming to PS5?
Why wouldn't it? I mean, it's entirely possible that they're gonna sell this studio to Microsoft or something, in which case it probably wouldn't come to PlayStation.
Well, do you remember the last Tomb Raider? It had it was an exclusive release. It was like Xbox got the last Tomb Raider a year in advance.
No, that was 2 Tomb Raiders ago.
The third one came out on time?
Yeah.
Oh, well then, okay. Well then maybe maybe we're okay.
I don't think they did that with Shadow of the Tomb Raider because they realized how much money they fucking lost on the second one because they did that. So now, granted, that was Square Enix at the time. That was not Embracer Group. So it's entirely possible that their business strategy has changed, and maybe this even has like them doing this has something to do with them Embracer selling Crystal Dynamics. I have no idea. But it's hard to say. I imagine it will come to PlayStation, though, unless something drastic.
It's wild, man. Yeah, I hope it works out. And we get it on day one, because I'm going to buy Tomb Raider day one. That's just how I'm going to roll. Although I didn't like the third one as much as the second one. And I thought the second and first one were comparable. The third one was just a little too open world for me. But it was fine. I played it one time.
Yeah.
But moving on to the last news point today, Jake, and this is a doozy, and this is a really freaking weird thing. It was essentially a shadow announcement, if that's possible. And the most nonchalant way to announce a game with a lineage of support. Ubisoft has announced The Division 3. They just mentioned that, like, oh yeah, we're working on a team. We're recruiting a team to start the Division 3 project. And people are like, what? Like, what? And like, yeah. So, like, yeah, Division 3 is happening. They confirmed it in a really nonchalant, blasé, fucking weird way. No trailer, no anything. It was just said. So, we're looking at probably years and years away.
Bizarre.
Yeah. But I'm happy as a Division fan, actually. I'm pretty stoked on this. I put a ton of hours into Division 2. Sean, one of our patrons, he and I used to roll around in the Division world all the time together. And man, Division is such a good game. But yeah, I hope. I mean, we know Heartland is being worked on right now, but that's a different studio. I don't think Massive is involved in that, are they?
My guess is that this game isn't even like gonna really begin until Avatar comes out in December, because Massive's doing that. So this game is years away, probably.
Yeah, so I don't even think that a proper title for this news point is that it was announced, so much as maybe it was just confirmed. It did not feel like an announcement. It was like an affirmation that, yeah, we're going to do this. But like, they're hiring now for the team. And real quick on a side note, let me tell you something. And I won't name his name. I'm not allowed to. But you and I know this guy. Well, you know him through me. We have a friend who got a job at ZeniMax. And he is so fucking stoked. And I'm so excited for him. He's earned it. And here's the crazy thing. I know this is like the opposite of PlayStation news, but he knows about shit that he can't tell people. And I'm like, man, that's what you have to fucking... He had to sign NDAs just to go through the interview process, which is awesome.
I believe it.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
He was telling me that like it was like Secret Service shit. Like he got in there and he had to like interview with like 35 different people. Like they threw questions at him about how would you handle this, and like here's the projects that we're working on. It was like Bethesda shit and stuff. And he learned all kinds of stuff. But I was talking with him, and if I understand him correctly, his job is going to be essentially being an in-game photographer and marketer for like using in-game assets to try to sell the game and use them for advertising stuff. Like, how fucking dope would a job like that be? It would be so fucking cool. I don't know. So
it's pretty neat.
Yeah. So that's super cool. So we now officially know somebody in the video game industry. Unfortunately, they are on the other side of the line. They're working for the wrong team. But I'm so happy for him. So happy because I mean, this guy is a great dude, and he's worked very, very hard to get where he's at. So super stoked about that. But so I just thought I'd throw that out there because it is video game related. It's cool shit. But next thing we talk about, Jake, is new games coming out. You know, every episode we talk about new games being released. There's a couple big ones this time. And, you know, we're going to keep this podcast relatively short. It's Tuesday night. We're recording. But the new games are for September 19th, Lies of P. I played the demo. Wasn't my bag of tea, but I think a lot of people liked it. September 21st, we got, I should say, instead of saying we're getting, we got Ren, The Last Child, PS5, PS4, Paperman Adventure Delivered, PS5, PS4, and Hellsweeper VR, PSVR 2. September 22nd, Bud Spencer and Terrence Hill Slaps and Beans 2, PS5. Don't even get it. Cyber Citizen Shockman 2, A New Menace, PS5, PS4, Rainbow High Runway Rush, PS5, PS4, and Shuyen Saga on PS5 and PS4. Those were the games. So those new game announcements are going to get more and more wild as we roll in to October. But Lies of P was a game people were really stoked about.
I guess people really like it, and it's out now, and I guess people are digging it. So
yeah,
good for them. I mean, I think the game looks cool, but it's a Souls-like, so it's not something that I'm really all that interested in.
Yeah, this is like the Pinocchio theme shit. Like, it's got a really neat aesthetic and setting. So I did appreciate that when I played it, but man, I'm just not into these games. You know, I think if they played like Tomb Raider or if they played like God of War and the action felt like that, it would be way more fun. But the action always seems really stiff in these games, and your character usually walks like really excessively slow, unnecessarily. And there's a stamina bar, and it's like, man, I don't know, it's not my thing. I'd rather play a beat 'em up. Jake, what do you got anything for the listeners before we call out of here? It's 8:20 p.m. on Tuesday, the 26th, and I gotta be up at like 6 in the morning tomorrow. I gotta get the shit uploaded.
Yeah, I don't have anything really else to say, except I've been thinking about buying one of these Insta360 cameras.
Yeah, those are awesome. Those tiny ones.
That they do they're 360 video action cameras.
Yeah, they look awesome.
But dude, these action cameras are so expensive. I mean, they're not, if you think about it, compared to like, a camera, I guess they're not that expensive. But when you're considering something that you're literally considering putting on your, motorcycle and fucking yeeting it off into the yard, it seems kind of ridiculous to pay that kind of money for it. But
right.
Dude, some of the shots you can get, and these Insta360 cameras, they have that like, what do they call it? It's like the invisible, they call it like the invisible selfie stick or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And it's like a selfie stick or like a mount that in the 360, it knows to delete it from the video. So it's like the camera is just floating. Like it's cool as shit.
Yeah, it's really weird.
I don't really know how it works, but yeah, I don't know. I know that's unrelated to the podcast. I was just thinking about it because I just think that it's a pretty neat thing. So I don't know. Maybe for next year. It's not something I really need to spend money on, but I just think that they're cool as well.
Hell yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't even know what they run. What do those things run?
So like I think you can get like like one of the basic like candy bar style 360 ones on sale for like $300,
yeah.
But they're normally like $400.
Yeah.
And then I think you can get more expensive from there. But the cool thing about the Insta cameras is that they, like, you can get ones that are similar to like a GoPro, but they're like modular. Like you can change the lens part out for a 360 lens, or change if it's got a screen or not, or like the battery thing and the mounting stuff. It's like they snap together. Like it seems like a really cool platform.
You're right.
I don't know. But yeah. But that's all.
That's wild.
I'm gonna probably eat some dinner. I think Sarah's making dinner right now, and then I'm gonna pop one of these motion pills so that it makes me sleepy, and I'm gonna try and zonk out tonight.
You're gonna listen.
Hopefully I'll feel even better tomorrow.
You're gonna listen to Juvenile slow motion for me.
Yeah, on repeat.
Slow motion for me. Slow motion for me. That's so good.
I'm pretty sure that's not going to put me to sleep.
That would probably make you more dizzy.
It might.
It might. I was going to say one last thing before we tail out of here. Remember how we were talking about Mac products and you said like their shit is just really smart the way it works and stuff? Yeah. So my iPhone, now that I've upgraded to Ventura, I'm using a Canon T3i to record video for the podcast. I could also use the webcam if I wanted. You're seeing me through the webcam on Discord, but what I'm actually recording with is the T3i camera because it's better quality. What I found out I can do with Ventura is if I select a camera on Discord, I can just pick my fucking iPhone wirelessly. It just finds it and it just works like a regular fucking camera. How crazy is that? It's no zero latency. It just fucking works.
That's cool.
I don't know how they do it. So maybe one of these podcasts, I'll give you guys a little tour of my painting station with my phone and talk about it. I don't have to do that. Wrong podcast. But anyways, dude, let's get out of here. Thanks for tuning in to episode 295 of PS This Is Awesome, a PlayStation podcast. I appreciate you, Jake, taking the time today, even when you weren't feeling 100% to do the show and not leaving me high and dry to do this solo. And I appreciate the listeners for tuning in each and every week. And I guess If you want to support us, don't forget, we do have a Patreon. $1 a month. It goes a long ways for us. Makes us feel good about ourselves. Makes us feel good about doing this. Not that we don't already, but it makes us feel even a scotch better every time we get a new patron. So feel free to jump in there. Throw us a buck. If you don't have it, we understand. We don't expect it, but it's always appreciated. With that out of the way, we'll see you next Wednesday. So, like Dragon's Dogma 2, Dragon Age, and Doki Doki Literature Club. P.S.
P.S.
This is
awesome.
Awesome.